Welcome to the Lockshield Partners podcast. We believe in financial literacy and love to provide quality information when it comes to areas around financial planning and how it impacts your life. To learn more about what we do and how we serve our clients, visit us at lockshieldpartners.com.
Well, Dan, welcome back. We've got another edition of our Lockshield Partners podcast today. And today we're going to talk about a concept that clients ask about fairly frequently. We hear people talk about it, the Backdoor Roth IRA.
Yeah, this is a special use strategy. It comes into play. We love Roth money. We've always established that. We love it because it's tax-free and it's very flexible. Backdoor Roth is for somebody who is ineligible to make Roth IRA contributions.
And why would they be ineligible to make a Roth contribution?
Great question, Clark. So the IRS, when they give out freebies like a Roth, they tend to have limitations on those. Annual contribution limits, but also who can take advantage of them. And so what they say is if your income is of a certain level, you cannot make Roth IRA contributions.
I see.
Now, I'm referencing IRA contributions, which could be different than 401k or 403b contributions. So you want to jump on that one as far as can you make Roth contributions there?
Let's do that. Yeah, and that income limit for 2024, the IRS gives you what's called a phase out. So for a married couple, if their modified adjusted gross income,
Getting complicated, Clark,
which is a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
You can Google that one. But if that number is more than $240,000 for a household, married couple, you cannot make Roth contributions.
You cannot make Roth IRA contributions.
Right. You can, however, contribute to your Roth bucket in your 401k or your 403b or your 457 or whatever your employer offers.
Right.
The IRS has a pretty clear distinction that you can make as much money as you want to, which is a good problem to have, and contribute as much Roth money as you're allowed to within your employer-sponsored plan.
That's right.
They're just not going to allow you to write your check or do your monthly contribution to your Roth IRA if your income is over that limit.
Good distinction. And anytime the IRS is given a freebie,
we probably want to try to take advantage of it.
We should pay attention to it.
We should probably pay attention to it. So Dan, let's talk about that. So for somebody that is over that income limit, a financial textbook would probably tell us you need to contribute as much as you can to your employer-sponsored plan. Then if you have extra, we probably need to direct those resources to a non-retirement account, or ideally, we can take advantage of a backdoor Roth IRA.
That's right.
And why? So before we maybe dive into the mechanics of this, for somebody that's a high income earner like that, they're obviously in a higher tax bracket. Traditional wisdom might say, well, you should try to deduct that money to lower your tax bill and pay the tax in the future. So for somebody that's a higher income earner, why would they still say, I'd rather pay the tax now?
Sure. And there may be a balance of that. There may be something in the middle, but from a long-term financial planning point of view, tax-free money is really nice to have. We don't know what tax rates will be in the future.
I think that's a great point.
And for a lot of clients who properly prepare, they will not be in a low tax bracket in retirement.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think historically speaking, our tax structure now is pretty friendly.
Very friendly.
At some point, they're probably going up.
Right.
We don't know that.
We don't know that.
They may not.
But historically, we are very low.
Right.
The other thing I would say, Clark, is it's nice while you're working and producing to minimize or eliminate future liabilities. So in the same vein that might be nice or would be nice to have your mortgage paid off in retirement, boy, it would be really nice to have some, maybe not all, but a chunk of your tax liability paid in retirement.
No doubt. Something else I would throw out there, Dan, too, is a consideration for those people. The financial textbook may tell you one thing. Calculators or financial planning software may say one thing. Sometimes the emotional behavioral side of finance is just as, if not more important than the technical side. Sometimes the peace of mind of knowing I've already paid the tax on this is just worth it.
That's exactly right.
And that's a personal preference.
It is. AI might tell us one thing,
Right.
but personal finance is personal. And as you and I know, when we get into retirement, it's really nice to have some flexibility to turn those spigots, tax-free, taxable incomes on and off, because that taxable income impacts your Social Security, whether it's taxable or not. It's really nice to have that flexibility.
I've yet to have a client say to me, man, I wish I had less Roth money in retirement.
Never.
I wish I would have taken that tax deduction before.
Right.
That hasn't happened yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. You never
yet.
know. But
So,
we would prefer for people who are in a position who can absorb it.
right. Let's take care of it.
Let's take care of it. That's exactly right.
So we've laid the groundwork for why we would want to do a backdoor Roth IRA. How do you do that? What does that even mean?
So this can get tricky. Backdoor Roths can get tricky. So of course, the first step is you establish a traditional IRA.
Okay. So we're doing a backdoor Roth IRA, but we're starting with a traditional.
Right. So traditional means that money is pre-tax, or getting a little deeper on this, the IRS allows you to make a non-deductible contribution to a traditional IRA.
Let's pause there.
That's a lot.
So normally, if I make a traditional IRA contribution, I take a tax deduction on my return for doing that.
That's
so
correct. The year you make the contribution.
If we're using easy math, let's say a household makes $100,000. They put $7,000 into their traditional IRA. Their income shows up now on their tax return as 93.
That's right.
A non-deductible contribution means they put that money in there, but that $7,000 deduction would not show up on their tax return.
That's
so their
exactly
income
right.
is still 100.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And the other rule to be aware of here is if you have employer sponsored plans, you may or may not be eligible to make different IRA contributions. That's for another podcast. But we're going to set up a traditional IRA. Now, you and I know this. What happens if you have other traditional IRA assets?
If we have other traditional IRA assets, that makes this process not completely nonsensical, but it makes it a lot trickier.
It complicates it.
When we make a non-deductible contribution, if there's already existing traditional IRA money, the IRS doesn't allow somebody to just say, hey, I'm going to now go convert that non-taxable portion, that $7,000
Right.
non-deductible contribution. That's the money I'm going to convert.
Yeah.
They say, you have to take the percentage that is non-deductible versus deductible, pro rata.
Yeah.
That's the portion that gets shifted over. So
because the IRS, this is kind of a quirky thing. The IRS, no matter how many IRAs you can have 5 different IRAs. As far as the IRS is concerned, you have one.
It's one big bucket.
It's one big bucket.
That's
so
right.
They don't say that's $7,000. You can.
They don't care.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So what that may look like, Dan, if we're using some easy math, let's say, if somebody had $50,000 in a traditional IRA and they tried to put in $7,000 non-deductible to then convert, well, the IRS would say, well, you can count 12% of that roughly as non-deductible or tax-free upon
and
the
that
conversion.
Gets clunky.
Then you have a lot of stuff to track in the long term, and I think you and I would just agree, maybe stay away.
Just
from
don't do that.
Just don't do that.
So this is really for if you or you're married, your spouse does not have a traditional IRA already.
Right.
They can make a non-deductible contribution and should probably convert it
right away.
Right away.
So essentially, that money is put in, the contribution is made. As soon as it clears, and maybe that takes a day or two for the custodian to clear that check or clear that contribution before any investments are purchased, while that money is still in cash, you just do a conversion.
Yeah.
So right away, that $7,000 that we're talking about for 2024, within the span of a couple extra steps, is going from your checking account to a Roth IRA.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Essentially, you made a Roth IRA contribution. You just had to take a couple extra steps.
You just had to go through the front door.
That's right. Hence the name Backdoor Roth IRA.
Backdoor Roth IRA. That's exactly right.
So Couple things I do think that are important to note, Dan. It's a lot to track from a tax standpoint. You have to make your tax advisor aware that your IRA contribution is non-deductible, for one.
That's important.
There's nowhere on the 1099-R that's going to tell them, hey, that money was non-deductible. So it is important for the taxpayer to let their tax advisor know, this is what I'm doing. Proactively communicate it. We've talked about this when we've done our previous podcast on conversions. Consult with your tax advisor in advance.
Right.
And then you also need to note on your 1099-R, because you will get one, just like we talked about with our conversion, money is coming out of your IRA and going into your Roth IRA, even if it was only there for a day.
Right.
It still came out. So it's really important to proactively communicate with your tax advisor.
Yeah. And it's really best done in the scope of an overall comprehensive financial plan. And where a lot of people trip up on this is that I have another traditional IRA that has assets already in there. That trips up a lot of folks.
That's the biggest mistake that occurs here.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, if that happens, you're still converting money to your Roth. It'll be okay.
You just have a nightmare scenario of keeping up with.
There's a lot to keep track of over time. So Dan, this is a common question with a backdoor Roth IRA. How much extra tax is somebody going to pay for doing that?
Right. Great question. And the answer is none. It's non-deductible. So it comes out of your checking account. You've already paid taxes on it. Assuming you do it right away. And sometimes people do a monthly systematic from a budgeting point of view, and maybe we convert it in December. The only thing to be aware of with that is if you have earnings, then the earnings are taxable to you. So that would be the only situation.
Okay. Which is a good problem to have.
Which is a great problem to have.
Yeah. Fine. So no additional tax. So essentially, I get asked a lot, am I paying tax on this twice? And as you've alluded to, the answer is no.
No.
When you receive that income, you've had your withholdings, great. And it's essentially that you're putting that money straight into a Roth IRA, just with one extra step. So
right.
As we close up here, Dan, any other fees, costs, things like that people need to be aware of if they do a Roth?
Sometimes a custodian will have a $25, $50 modest paperwork fee to do it. So if you're doing a monthly contribution, maybe you do it once a year, the conversion. But it's pretty straightforward. It's really the planning and the execution part. And again, the whole idea is I'm not eligible to make Roth contributions, but I can get around the rules and go in the back door by doing a non-deductible contribution to a traditional IRA and then immediately converting it to my Roth IRA.
Great. If you want more information on a backdoor Roth IRA or Roth conversion, just make sure to check out our website at lockshieldpartners.com.